Hey, it's Bill Russell. I'm here in my yellow hat. I wore it at Vive and Hims to signify our partnership with Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation and the search for cures and to combat childhood cancer. I'm just blown away by the generosity of our community. With the help of our partners, SureTest, Rackspace, CTG, and some of you giving individually, we were able to raise close to $40,000 at those two events. It is just exceptional. And I would like to thank all of you who have joined us in this cause. If you would like to be a part of it as well, go ahead and hit our page, thisweekhealth.com. You can go to the top blue banner that is on our homepage and click on that to give today. Thank you again for being a part of this effort and this cause. Today in Health IT, it's Friday, and we are going to talk a little bit about this idea. Becker's put out a question, which I thought was a good one. Do we need a new C-suite role for AI? My name is Bill Russell. I'm a former CIO for a 16-hospital system and creator of This Week Health, a set of channels and events dedicated to transform healthcare one connection at a time. We want to thank our show sponsors who are investing in developing the next generation of health leaders. Notable: ServiceNow, Enterprise Health, Parlance, Certify Health, and Panda Health. Check them out at thisweekhealth.com/today. You can find this story and many others at thisweekhealth.com/news. And yes, we are still working together with Alex's Lemonade Stand to end childhood cancer. If you want to be a part of our campaign, we are up over $90,000 for our 2-year commitment of $150,000. We would love for you to be a part of it. Go ahead and hit our website, thisweekhealth.com. And at the top, you're going to see the blue banner to go to the Alex's Lemonade Stand page. So you can give there. You can also see all the great pictures from Vive and Hims and other things that we've done. So love to have you be a part of it. One last thing, mentor someone, share this podcast with a friend or colleague, use it as a foundation for daily or weekly discussions on the topics that are relevant to you in the industry. They can subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, here's the story. The story is from Becker's Health IT. Health system leaders split on this new C-suite role. And let me just give you some context and then we'll talk about it a little bit. As hospitals and health systems look to harness the power of artificial intelligence, many are looking to add a chief AI officer to their executive teams. But is this position necessary? Richmond, Virginia-based VCU Health is one of the health systems looking for a chief data and AI officer. The individual would be in charge of data management and responsible for AI adoption across the health system, ensuring safe and ethical use. That's interesting. So Ellen Wiegand, who has been on the show, Senior VP and CIO at VCU Health, told Becker's this role is important because analytics and AI strategy cannot be an other duty as assigned added to another group of the leader's existing job. All right. So that's that concept right there. Let's see. Bhavik Patel, Dr. Bhavik Patel, Chief AI Officer of Phoenix-based Mayo Clinic, Arizona, echoed Ms. Wiegand's sentiments in a Fox News article. Dr. Patel said that the chief AI officer is more than a technocrat. In essence, the chief AI officer is not just a technocrat, but a visionary leader, ensuring that the organization navigates the AI-driven paradigm shift in healthcare with agility, responsibility, and patient-centric approach, he told the news outlet. And then there's another one. Let me get to the opposing view here. Here we go. But some leaders see AI as part of the CIO role. In my opinion, if you've hired the right CIO, it's just something they take on. BJ Moore, CIO of Renton, Washington-based Providence, told Becker's, this is the single most important tool that we've had in technology, I think, ever. And if you're a technology leader and you aren't embracing this and becoming an expert, then you are just missing the boat. All right, so that's the article. That's the debate. I put a poll out on LinkedIn, so if you want to participate, I only give you 2 options, yes or no. Should we add a C-suite role for AI, yes or no? I thought of putting a third option because people like to find that middle ground and say, wow, it's nuanced. It really depends on fill in the blank. But the question is, how important is this? How much of a focus does it need? And should this be the primary focus of a CIO? Is what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to force you into a yes-no kind of paradigm to see how many people are like, yeah, I see that. I could see that working. So let's talk about this a little bit. There's going to be different ways that you bring AI into your organization. There's going to be obviously the partner, the vendors that you're currently using are going to start putting it into their tools. The role of the AI officer in that case is to make sure that it's the appropriate AI model, that there's transparency into the model and how it's formulating its decisions, that there's a safety component to it, there's a usability component to it, there's an integration component to it. So there's a lot of things that AI officer would do if you are just bringing it in through the various tool sets that you have today. But keep in mind, if you hire a clinician, like in the case of Dr. Patel, you're going to be using AI in a lot of other places. So that physician is going to have to understand the application of AI in IT, for example, because we're going to be using AI in the provisioning of servers. We're going to be using it in security and other areas as well. So if you do bring somebody in, make sure that they understand that it is a broad perspective. They're going to have to understand supply chain. They're going to have to understand revenue cycle, because you're applying AI in all of those places. Not that they can't, with a medical background, understand those things. Obviously they can, but just make sure that the expectation is that they understand it across all of those things. And then there's going to be cases where you utilize a platform. You might use Anthropic. You might use Anthropic as AWS. You might use ChatGPT, which is Microsoft. You might use DeepMind and some of the other things that Google has if you are partnered with them, in which case the chief AI officer in that is really about education, adoption, the proper use of those tools, and effectiveness. Obviously, they're working with security to make sure that people understand. They're helping to build the sandbox, if you will, to protect PHI and all the history of data and whatnot. We can't just throw things in there and ask for a differential diagnosis. That would be crazy without knowing how the model's working and those kinds of things. But you're going to have a lot of these. And by the way, those are just three of the main players. Then there's 1,000 others. And one of the areas that we are seeing it be used more and more is in the area of ambient listening and obviously computer vision. And so there's different requirements for each one of those models. And then the third, which I think is going to be not overly prevalent in healthcare. It will be prevalent in finance and in other places because they will see it as a competitive differentiator, and plus it will drive down their cost, is the development of your own large language models and building those models with your information, your patient set, your health system data, and those kinds of things. Now you can do that through a tool like Notable or something to that effect. And I'm sure you'll see this coming from Epic and Meditech and others. You'll see AI things built into the overall operation that you can get into. You're going to see that, but there's going to be that side of it. For the AI officer in that side of it, they're going to have to understand design patterns and programming and agile and all sorts of other things. And so it's interesting because the strategy is going to dictate who you hire and who should be in charge of what and what they are actually bringing to the table. By the way, I agree 100% with what BJ Morse said down here, that this is the single most important tool that we've had in technology, I think, ever. And I believe I am in that same camp. The more I utilize these tools, the more I realize that it is going to fundamentally change how we work. It's going to fundamentally change what software is and how we interact with it. It will change the computing paradigm. Sitting in front of a computer and typing will now become sitting in front of a computer and talking, or even a phone and talking and getting just amazing outputs on the other side. We're going to be able to have personal assistants that monitor our email and follow up on things for us, or at least create drafts of things for us to follow up on things that we should follow up on. I think it's essentially going to make every AI empowered human be at least 1.25 times more effective than they are as a non-AI empowered human, if not 1.5, maybe even more than that. And I think this is the tip of the iceberg, because I think we're going to see AI empowered robots that are going to be moving around our hospitals. I think we're going to see AI empowered robots within our lifetime that are moving around our homes. And so I agree with him that this is one of the most impactful technologies that we've ever seen. And I'm not sure I agree with him that if you've hired the right CIO, this is just something they take on. I agree that every CIO should be just completely immersed in this right now. With that being said, you could say that same thing about radiology. Like, We don't need somebody who understands radiology, technology, and all that stuff. Radiology, imaging. Imaging in and of itself is its own discipline, its own space. It's not that the CIO doesn't oversee the infrastructure to support that and even the workflows and the data flows around that and those kind of things. But at the end of the day, it's enough of a specialty that there should be somebody who really understands that. And I think I fall into that camp. Not that I think we need a C-suite person, but the CIO should have a chief technology officer or a chief AI officer or someone in the organization that is a peer to whatever that one level is below the CIO. The CIO is overseeing the whole department and whatnot. I think if you create a whole department for it, you're missing the boat. But if you're making that a part of a specialized discipline within the IT organization, I think that's where I would land on this. So that's my answer. Do we need a new C-suite? No, but I think we need a specialized AI department. Definitely a leader for that department, somebody who's helping us to bring it in effectively into our organization. And that's it. Gosh, we won't see you again until Monday. That's all for today. Don't forget, share this podcast with a friend or colleague. Use it as a foundation to keep the conversation going and to mentor someone. We want to thank our channel sponsors who are investing in our mission to develop the next generation of health leaders. Notable: ServiceNow, Enterprise Health, Parlance, Certify Health, and Panda Health. Check them out at thisweekhealth.com/today. Thanks for listening. That's all for now.